Hello, and once again I've got for review pretty popular model of Chinese in-ear monitors. Now the brand name is RevoNext, model is QT2. They gained pretty lot of popularity recently, and they offering pretty good sound and with a bit of unusual tuning. Those are 3-driver hybrid model, but actually creators decided to put 2 dynamic drivers for bass and sub-bass. Actually one dynamic driver for sub-bass, second one is for bass, and for mids and treble they just put single balanced armature driver. So at the end they've ended with model for tailored first of all for bass head listeners. So if you like good bass in affordable segment, let's have a closer look. Box is relatively simple, it's made of white cardboard, pretty small. On the back side there are technical specifications, so 24 grams of weight, 1.25 meter cable, 3.5 mm connector, replaceable cable with double pin plug. Frequency response of course stated huge, but treble is limited actually. It's a little bit, it's not so extended, and impedance is 15 ohms, sensitivity is 105 decibels. Pretty good specs even for with powerful players, and with smartphones they will be good enough. So as you can see there are microphone and non-microphone version. Also they exist in 2 color options, black one, or actually darker gray, and lighter gray. So inside we will have IEMs themselves, 2 pair of replaceable tips, so 3 pair of tips totally, and of course you will have the cable. As you can see, packaging is a bit better than, for example, KZ uses. It's a small attention to the details. Not like a big change, but it's always better to have everything packaged in separate boxes and so on. So here is cable. Speaking about build quality, they are really nice. You know, we finally reached the level when even inexpensive Chinese IEMs, those are priced about $50 on Amazon, are made on really good level of craftsmanship. They are made of metal, have a bit sophisticated shape. As you can see, they are also inspired a little bit by Campfire audio, but at this time creators make a bit unusual shape, not a direct rip-off like some other companies do. Spout is good, it has normal length, so it provides really good secure fit with normal sound isolation. There is protective grill to to protect from dust and other particles falling inside of this case. Fit for me is pretty normal, but probably for small ear owners it can be a bit problematic. They are designed to be worn over the ear, and this part can be probably a little bit uncomfortable, but as I've said before, for me comfort is really good and probably even better than, for example, Campfire Audio Andromeda. Creators made replaceable cables, pretty long 2-pin connectors, 0.78 millimeters. Sockets are recessed, so fit is deep and really secure. Let me attach the second one. So here it is. Cable is fairly simple, but it does its job normal. It has ear hooks, but there is no memory wire effect, so it just wear it over the ear. You can't bend it, but it's pretty soft, so you won't have many issues with microphonic effect, and it won't get hard when it's cold. It's a bit tangling, but it's also not a big issue for me. There is single button talk control with microphone. Microphone quality is about average, so when you use it as for phone calls, you should move it closer to your mouth to get better better volume and better and less outside noise. Cable itself is average, not good, not bad, something in between. It's not getting hard when it's cold, tangling a little bit microphonic, but thanks to this over-ear wearing you won't have any problems. And it goes way down below to this regular straight jack. So in terms of build quality they are good, especially for their price range, and in terms of design, for me they're also good, and wearing comfort is also good, but this I can't guarantee for everyone. And of course about the sound. As an illustration, this time I will use Porta.Fi Gold. Actually it's not the best source for this in-ear monitors, because Lotu really likes high impedance loads, and those have only 15 ohms. Hi-Fi IE match can serve as a rescue here, but actually it costs about the same price as IEMs themselves, so it's not reasonable. Anyway, for illustration purposes, I think Lotu will do its job well, because it reminds me these shapes. By shapes it has something similar with these monitors. So as I've said before, the first thing that you will notice with them, it's bass. It's not the fastest, but it has good rumble and normal resolution, normal layering and normal instrument separation. And it has a pretty good depth, of course, and it has a nice accent. So if you like bass heavy models, it's one of the best choices in the affordable segment, at least in my perception. I'm not a bass head, so I can't say what real bass head will need, but for me this model sounds like bass heavy model should sound. And it goes pretty deep, and the best thing that its deep layers are controlled well. I usually make some illustration naming some tracks. So as an example, in this case we can use Juno Reactor, their album The Golden Sun of the Great East. Actually every single track can serve as a perfect example of bass, and they have a lot of fun bass, and it's really engaging in this model. And now we're transitioning to the mids. Mids are recessed, and they are noticeably recessed, and actually they are not so recessed, but because of this really heavy hitting bass, mid sounds more recessed than they are in real life. When the track is not too heavy on bass, actually mids are pretty normal. Of course it's not something superb, it's not a model for those who like to hear the tiniest, smallest details, for those who like monitoring representation with big imaginary stage and so on and so forth. It's a model tuned for fun listening, for mass market, so bit recessed mids. Sometimes they are shadowed a little bit by bass because of these quantities of bass. It can't be in any other way. But imaginary stage is normal. It has pretty okay width and depth, a bit above average, but still nice, with nice layering and isolation. I probably won't put some example of mids here, because mids here are normal but not something superb, just some mass-tuned model. But actually let's see what we have. For example, Enigma. Let's see, turn around. Great spacious three-dimensional effects, and in this IEM they sound really good, accompanied by their heavy bass. And treble, it's accented a little bit because to compensate low frequencies. It has not superb resolution, but it's still normally resolving. Attacks in decays are a bit simplified. Actually, it's an expensive model, so for this price range, treble is acceptable. They are they have a bit slight accent, so if you are treble phobic or too treble sensitive, you should better listen this model before buying. But to my ears, they don't have too many treble and even don't come close to this limit. As some example of treble, let's say Chepazo band, interesting collective from Russia. They playing jazz music using harmonicas and drums, and it sounds really good. It's pretty fun sound, but it's still famous popular jazz melodies and really nice listening music. I'm not sure where these tracks can be obtained, probably from Root Tracker. They were released officially on the torrent tracker, so you can download them to listen if you'd like, and they are good illustration of treble because the harmonicas have good treble. They are treble rich instrument and they require nice treble. Of course, some more expensive models will be better here, but still for this price range I'd say a pretty good sound. And briefly a few words about comparisons. I will skip models that sounds totally different, like Mi Audio M6 Pro 2nd generation, for example. They are totally different. So only similar models, both in terms of general sound tuning and in terms of sound. Probably the closest models I can recall, it's KZ AS10. It's 5-driver balanced armature model, but with pretty similar tuning, but those have a bit more bass and it goes a bit deeper, while KZ has less recessed mids, so KZ is a bit more mid-forward, and also KZ is a bit more polite on treble, but on treble difference isn't big. So those have a bit more treble, but I can't say that difference is noticeable. Another recent model by KZ, it's BA10, but actually, I can say that probably RevoNext has similar tuning, but with, at least to my taste, it's a bit more funny. So if you need really bass heavy tuning, probably I recommend RevoNext. Actually, both are not in my taste, but well, subjectively I'd go for RevoNext. But I actually prefer more natural tuning. There are a lot of other models in this price range. For example, TRN V80, they are a bit more affordable, but they have more treble, they have more forward mids, so it has totally different tunings. So to summarize, actually, if you are looking for some model with a lot of low frequencies and with normal resolution of low frequencies, and you are okay with a bit recessed mids, and you want a V-shaped signature, it's definitely one of the best models for you. If you want more natural model, well, you have to look for something else. Thank you for attention.